Shall we move on to this story from the Telegraph today, which is about Gillian Keegan, Education Secretary, has said that she's going to stop using the phrase trans women are women. Carole, what's she going to use instead?
Well, I don't know what she's going to say, but she was pushing this line. This is the line the trans women are is always pushed by the trans activists, because what it does is it silences debate on this, and they try to silence debate. But of course, you know, Gillian Keegan was using this line for months and months ago. But now she says, and it's interesting, it comes on the heels of the Cass report, she now says she's been educated by professionals, and it's crystal clear to her that that what's been happening is an erosion of women's rights. And I mean, it should have been screamingly obvious to her as a woman that was the case. But anyway, all of that said, and it sounds like I'm taking the mick out of it, but all of that said, I think it takes guts to say publicly that you've made a mistake.
I know, hang on, Carole. So, sorry, you can't... Wes Streeting's done the same thing. You can no longer keep that position in light of the Cass review.
She could have shut up, though. She could have said nothing and then just quietly changed.
Well, she's been she's been made to look a bit silly, Scarlett, don't you think? Same as Wes Streeting. The evidence was there in your face. You didn't need some in-depth report to show that the trans ideology that has been sweeping the UK has been a vast detriment to women's rights. Well, you don't need experts to tell you that.
I don't feel threatened by trans women, and I think it's really, really important. And I think that for too long, trans women have been the butt of humour. They've been used. That actually, it's really... Hold on, Carole, I'm allowed to say this. It's really, really important to remember this is a tiny minority of the public.
With a very loud voice, Scott.
Most of them say nothing. Most of them just want to live their lives that they were unhappy. What's going on in schools is completely different. I mean, what's going on in schools is about young people in rebellion, and it's always been like that, and now they're choosing gender. But for most trans women, they just want to be allowed to live their lives without being the butt of humour. I just think Gillian Keegan never understands anything.
No one would disagree with that, but I think the thing about the trans activist groups, they have infiltrated a lot of our institutions, particularly the NHS, and people are angry about this, and Keegan has recognised that. She's also under fire now because she published a guidance for schools in December last year, saying that things like pronouns should only be allowed, kids should only be allowed to use them in the most exceptional circumstances. And teaching unions and the trans groups are on her now like a rash because they totally disagree with that. They want kids indoctrinated in schools from a very early age. But I think, you know, you're right. She should have known, completely should have known, that women's rights were being eroded, and maybe she's been told to do that.
I've just got an issue with these people talking after the fact and getting praise for it. Ruth Hunt, the former CEO of Stonewall, coming out in the Sunday Times a weekend or two ago saying, well, I advocated puberty blockers at the time, but I was listening to the experts, so, you know, that's my get-out-of-jail-free card. No, you are meant to be the cream of the crop of society. You're meant to be very intelligent people operating, you know, in a high-performance environment. Gillian Keegan is the Education Secretary. It should not take the Cass review for you to realise what was going on was wrong. Sorry.
Very opinionated, but I do think that we have to understand that the whole problem about trans is the polarisation, and on both ends it's terrible. I don't think JK Rowling, I think with her, I do find what she says really offensive.
She said nothing offensive, Scott. Tell me one thing that was offensive and not true.
I think she goes on and on and
she does
on
not
about
go.
it.
She goes on and she responds to attacks from people.
No. She actually begins it and she provokes it. And I actually think that what we need to do is we need to calm this debate down so that we actually can talk. We can talk reality, and we can say to both sides, just shut up and let's actually talk about it so that we can have a proper conversation about women in sport, where obviously trans women should not be allowed to be in women's sports. Right?
I just want to take it on JK Rowling. She never started any of this. In fact, if JK Rowling hadn't been as rich and as influential as she is, she would have been a broken, ruined woman by now. It's only because of her position she's been able to resist the death threats, the constant abuse that she gets, the vile abuse to her and her her family.
But she provokes.
She does not provoke. She just simply said, you know, a woman is a woman. She was talking about women. She was saying, whatever. We know what she was doing.
I feel a little bit with the trouble with this debate, and I think where I share your view, Ben, about the fact that there's so many people now suddenly flip-flopping on this issue, is that everyone's been frightened about what other people think of them. All these politicians have been frightened to say the wrong thing in case they step out of that small kind of Overton window of what is acceptable to say. And it suddenly just feels like they all blow in the wind. And suddenly the Cass report has come out, and now they can say what they say. Oh, well, I felt this all along. I like the input of experts. I'm a little bit with you. I like the fact that we have a report that has been looked into, but 6 out of the 7 clinics wouldn't even cooperate.
Oh, no,
and if that doesn't tell you what's going on with some of the trans-industrial...
No, but actually, look, it's completely... You're absolutely right. I mean... It is a gut thing that puberty blockers are wrong, because what are you doing giving something to young people who, you know, we have no idea whether... I mean, what they need is a therapist, right?
Yeah.
To listen and to find out what's real and what's not.
Why they hate themselves so much that they want to be a different gender.
Precisely.
Thank you so much, ladies. Scarlett, Carole, Malone.